The story goes that in the 19th century, explorers came to the Amazon jungle to discover a treasure that lay among its trees. Drunk men with greed discovered the potential of white gold to exploit it and start the Amazon rubber boom. The scars of this treasure keeps memory, and the few guardians that remain through the generations continue.
I thought it was a very sort of inspirational, meditative, and ruminative piece about a lot of topics, not just about sort of the rubber trade and how the backdrop of that pursuit really ravaged the Amazonian rainforest inside of Peru, as long as I believe I'm correct on that. And how it sort of transformed the land and sort of affected those people, but not just that big picture dynamic, but a very personal story dynamic around Jorge, I believe, and how sort of the generations of his family have been doing this and what it means to be doing this work and how it connects to sort of ancestral dynamics from his past that he still carries with him to this day. I thought towards the end it was a really great moment with him and his father's tool and about how he felt about his father still being with him while he had that tool and used it to still do his work. And I thought that it really reflected the spiritual and generational feel that the piece was really great at capturing. The images of the forest were obviously very beautiful. The soundtrack had a really great mix with it, and it was just a really great sort of meditative feel and approach to the piece that felt very ethereal and spiritual in nature. And I thought it really helped support the themes that the documentary was covering. So it was well done. It was easy to get into.
Short really invites you to learn more about the latex industry and in particular the small business owners and people who are the grassroots who are responsible for like latex populations in these areas. I also loved how you didn't learn the meaning of Shiringa until the end, and they didn't contextualize the story in colonialism and imperialism. That's about this man and his father and this farm and their connection to these trees and to this trade. And I really appreciated how it wasn't like a colonial story. I mean, colonialism obviously plays a big part in this man's narrative, but it was really, I really thought it was thoughtful to put it towards the end. And just like what a beautiful way of shooting this short and of interviewing this man. There's so many great shots of the trees and the intricate connections and intricate designs that have to go into extracting the latex and the explanation for wanting to conserve the forest. I believe that the lead to something about how the trees are his family, and you really get a sense of that in the short. I think they did a really great job of capturing like the connection that this man has to both his father and that his legacy, and to, you know, his trade and the care and the beauty of what's done. And I also loved how we didn't get to see like a full latex sheet until the end. I thought it was really satisfying and a really great button.
The drone footage of the forest is just gorgeous. I love the sounds of the forest creatures too. The initial voiceover artist was so resonant. And then I enjoyed hearing from Jorge in subtitles about his love for his trade, his stories of previous generations, and about his father's metal tool that he still uses. Excellent close-ups of latex harvesting and producing big sheets of it. Lovely, gentle soundtrack as his story is told. Interesting historical details. Awesome extreme close-up of his expressive face near the end.
We see here the white gold, the latex. I personally myself wondered sometimes, a few times in my life, where the latex comes from, and actually it's there in Amazonia, where you can get from the trees. And I see the struggles of the main character here. We see the high he's been basically growing up or going to collect the latex from the trees since he was a kid, and how he has to do it every day, waking up at 1, 2 a.m. and getting there by dawn, because that's when the tree is releasing 100% of the latex. That's not going to happen at 10 a.m. It's going to happen only a certain time before dawn. So, but I also like the passion he's got in this job, and also it was interesting to see how such a process happens, and also how economical, how beneficial could be economy-wise, more money-wise, to collect latex, because as they call it, white gold, and it certainly is an important substance that we use pretty much every day and in many products.
The fact that to farm this latex, they do conserve the trees so well, and he describes his job as working with the trees as if these trees are his co-workers, because they work together to bring about this latex. I thought that was a very cool way of looking at things, and to conserve the environment. And sort of the importance of conserving versus just cutting down these trees for its liquid gold like they had been doing. This way of working with the land and not just destroying things for that, instant gratification. It was really cool to see him using his father's tools that had been passed down through generations, and you can see how important that tool was to him. He almost got emotional, which, of course, as the audience, it makes you get emotional with him. So I thought that was a powerful emotional moment when he was describing using that tool and its sentimental value for him. So overall, it was a really emotionally charged film about these Shiringa trees, and I really enjoyed that.
I guess if you had asked me before watching Shiringa, I would have guessed latex just came from a lab. I feel completely foolish not never realizing it was the way it was extracted and from trees, and being known as Amazonian white gold, and all the just destruction that happened to the Peruvian indigenous people because of it. I was completely unaware of all of that. And this film, in such a short time, really just opened my eyes and just gave me a complete info dump in the most digestible way. It was entirely humanized and really just thoroughly interesting. They put it together really well.
It was amazing to learn about the process of sustainably obtaining latex from the Shiringa tree with Jorge's passion and devotion. It is heartbreaking to see the awful reality of the Amazonian rainforest due to exacerbating senseless exploitation of its resources through decades. They are showcasing the white gold in this case, as it was called a few decades ago. I'm just thankful for people like Jorge that are invested in protecting and fighting to preserve places like the Amazonian rainforest, and which definitely is important for him, but it should be for every one of us. It is his source of income, but it is a vital part of our ecosystem.